country which is great in prospect, for example, like Nigeria, with a population of 250 million, generates less power than Costa Rica, which has a population of 5 million and generates 3 times more power than Nigeria, is undesirable. What is the Yoruba word for democracy? What is the Ijo word for democracy? What is the Ibibio word for democracy?
My people, a whole lot is happening in Nigeria. A whole lot is happening in the political zone. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what Plo Lumumba said. In the short clip, you could see what he said. The little thing that he said about Nigeria, which is very, very undeniable about the present situation of Nigeria. And in this video, he said a lot of things about Nigeria way since the time of Goodluck Jonathan to this present moment. I want you to stick to this screen. I want you to stick to your screen to see everything that Plo Lumumba said in this video. He exposed a lot of secret and everything and all the strategic President Bola Ahmed TINUBU has been using since all this while that is unfavorable to every Nigerian. And you will see in this video most reason why the northern part of the country, Nigeria, are so much in anger about this present administration. And you will be wondering that these are the things that never happened during the time of Buhari. They never came out like this. But you will see that presently that's a whole large number of northern people are coming out. My people, I want you to stick to your screen to see every reason Plo Lumumba blast everything open in this video. I want you to share this video to every social media platform. If you cannot share it, like it, give it a thumbs up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. We'll be back in the jiffy.
Welcome you back to Live TV show.
The whole of crime scene
is happening in the street again.
The center of political news, celebrity gossip, religious gossip, and happiness in the society.
Join us, the voice of Africa.
Welcome you to Lajupok TV show, where we bring you political, celebrity and religious gossip. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do wait to click the red subscription button and don't forget to click the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you anytime we drop another trendy video. My people, before you're going to be watching this video, before I'm going to play the video for you, in a country where the president of the nation rigs his way into power, and after rigging his way into power and he chooses to rule the country with pride, this is what happened afterwards. Now, a whole lot of people have been complaining about the way President Bola Ahmed TINUBU has been engaging the people, the way he has been ruling the country, the way he has been ruling everything with pride. Now, let us come from this way. Had it been President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, whom everybody knows that rigs his election into power, which doesn't mean that he wasn't also voted for by some set of people. Now, the issue now here is that had it been President Bola Ahmed TINUBU has been approaching all the matter, he has been addressing the issue of the country the way people want, the way they are expecting. At least a whole lot of issues like this wouldn't have come up. Had it been President Bola Ahmed TINUBU, his tenure is favoring every Nigerians presently. I know a lot of people wouldn't have come out to start complaining bitterly. And now a whole lot of people believe that if President Bola Ahmed TINUBU didn't become the president of the nation, and it happens that Peter Obi was the president of the country and is the one ruling the country presently, and things are getting better for Nigerians, a whole lot of people will believe that yes, this is who we vote for, this is what we want, this is what we want out of the election, and this is what we want our president to be doing. You know, a whole lot of people believe that if Peter Obi was to be the president of this nation, he would have addressed the issue, and even if Nigerians are going to be passing through a hardship time, it wouldn't have been as much as it is presently. That is the main reason why a whole lot of people are complaining. Let's just check the fact that President Bola Ahmed TINUBU has been doing everything well for the nation. A whole lot of people would have been like, thank God that we did not vote him, and at least he rigged his way into power and he's doing everything well for the people, and people are enjoying it. Now, if you see the type of Akpabio and Wiki in his administration, you will know that immediately you see those people, immediately you cited those people in his cabinet, you will know that this man, we are going to be having a whole lot of difficulties with it as administration. You see the way Shetima speaks to Nigerians, you see the way Akpabio comes to national TV and talk to his people in the House of Rep, you know that these people are just calling themselves politicians. They don't even have the power, they don't even know how to rule Nigerians, they don't even know how to lead. The leading power in them is zero. You could see everything that is going on in Nigeria presently. And if you should watch this video, what Plo Lumumba said in this video, he nailed everything on the head. Everything that he said about President Bola Ahmed TINUBU and everything and all the constitution that we'll be following in Nigeria. Let us check the fact the constitution we are following in Nigeria, is it even of Nigeria? Is it even of people? Is the constitution meant to help the people? Is it supposed to, is it supposed to be well well on the people of Nigeria. Are Nigerians supposed to feel the constitution well? You could see that the constitution is not even favoring the average Nigerians, and you could see that everything that is going on in Nigeria is later being connected to the colonial master. You will see everything is said in this video. Most people that you see as the president of the nation are not even answering to themselves. They are answering to some powers. They are answering to some people that Nigerians cannot even see. And let me tell you in this video, the reason why the northern part of Nigerians are being this angry is not even only about the hardship. There are a lot of things that most Nigerians do not know that is going on beneath or behind the curtains. There are a lot of Nigerians do not know presently. I want you to watch the video of Plo Lumumba and everything is said in this video and check what is going on in Nigeria presently. It blasts a whole lot of politicians, and President Bola Ahmed TINUBU is not exempted, my people. I want you to stay close to your screen and watch everything Plo Lumumba said in this video, and after this video we'll come back and wrap up.
Defines democracy. What is it? Is it about the periodic meetings or elections that we hold every so often? Is it equal to governance? Who defines democracy? Many years ago, a great African American, John Henry Clark, who is a great Pan-Africanist, observing the many African countries that were regaining independence, said that when African countries regained independence, all of them inherited systems of government that were inherited from their former colonizers. And he went on to say, and none of them will ever succeed on the basis of those inherited governance systems. There is a sense in which those words now ring true. We are in a continent that is today divided into 54 countries out of a scheme which was hatched by European powers in 1884 and 1885 when they sat in Berlin to divide the continent of Africa into spheres of influence, into hunting grounds. The British had their hunting ground, the French did, the Belgians did, the Italians did, the Germans did, the Portuguese did. Then of course we resisted them and they appeared to leave and we celebrated. But the question is, did they leave? And if they leave, if they left the continent in which they lived and still are living, what impact did they have? Is the impact still with us? Have we liberated ourselves? And why did we drive them away? I can still remember those words that I listen to every so often, spoken on the 6th day of March 1957 by Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah, that the independence of Ghana means nothing if the rest of Africa is not free. I can still remember him saying that we are regaining independence, that we may govern ourselves, that we may harness our resources, that we may have education that is in the best interest of our people, that we may take control of our cocoa and coffee and yams. The question this afternoon, have we? The question is, after all the countries regained independence and we started electing our leaders, did they change? Did they husband our resources in a better way? I can still remember in 1958 when the same Kwame Nkrumah invites leaders in Accra, Ghana in 1958 and tells them that we are not truly free. There is another project that has inherited colonialism. It is neo-colonialism. And I can remember him moving 2 years later in Casablanca, Morocco, and telling his audience, this independence that we think we have regained, we will lose it. We will lose it because the neo-colonizer has not left. He is with us, and he is using some of us, and he is the enemy from within that we must be wary of. And he did not stop there. 3 years later, in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, 32 African countries are now independent. Each one of them, heads of states, talking about Africa, about African unity, about the need to have one army, about the need to have one government, about the need to have one currency, about the need to have a common unified foreign policy. But they listened to him not. And we had a weak organization called the OAU, which made its contribution, participated in the liberation of other African countries. But the question is Africa the richer because we regained independence? You will remember that even as we regained independence, the other countries still remained here, and it's only in the 1980s that we see other African countries regaining their independence. You'll remember the wars of independence in Angola. You'll remember the wars of independence in Mozambique. You'll remember the wars of independence in Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde. And you'll remember the last bastion of man's inhumanity to man in South Africa in 1984, preceded only by liberation from the regime in what is now Zimbabwe. The question is, the promises that our founding fathers made to us, have we fulfilled them as we talk about democracy and constitutions? Who brought the constitutions to us? Which constitutions do our traditional rulers operate from? Are they written? For whose interests are they written? As I talk about democracy and development now, I want you to cast your eyes across the continent of Africa now. Look at young people dying as they leave the coast of Senegal. When you tell them about democracy and elections, are you talking to them when they are dying? When they are dying in the Mediterranean, are you talking to them? If you go into a room where there are 10 young Africans, 8 of them want to run away from the continent of Africa, even in countries where there are so-called constitutional governments. This is the Africa that we are talking about today. When you go to Australia, Europe, and America, young Africans are being humiliated. If you doubted it, you only saw what happened in Ukraine when the war broke out. See how Africans were being humiliated. The question that we are asking today, and the question that is alive and well today, and the debate that we ought to wrap our minds around today is, what is democracy? Whose democracy? Is there a possibility that we who are gathered here today, as Carter G. Woodson said in 1933, we are so thoroughly miseducated that in fact, even when we think we are getting it right, we are getting it wrong? Is it a possibility that one of the things that we must do in assemblies such as this and at all times is to unlearn some of the indoctrination to which we have been subjected, so that we may learn things that can help the continent of Africa. How is it that every time we think that we have diagnosed the disease properly and that we have a new antidote, when we apply that antidote, a new wound appears? How is it? How is it that when we regained independence in 1960, it started with coup d'etats, and as we speak now, we have coup d'etats? If our memories are not serving us well, don't you remember that no sooner had Congo regained independence in 1961 than there was a coup d'etat and Patrice Emery Lumumba was killed? If you doubt me, is it not the case that in 1963 in Togo they killed Sylvanus Olympia? If you doubt me, is it not the truth that in 1966 they overthrew Kwame Nkrumah? Is it not the truth that in this country they took away the government of Nnamdi Azikiwe and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa in 1967? Is it not true that they eliminated Modibo Keita in Mali? That they took away Ahmed Ben Bella in Algeria? So our story is, as the French would say, plus ça change, plus c'est la même change. The more things change, the more they remain the same. And if that is the case, we must ask ourselves uncomfortable questions, which will give us uncomfortable answers. Many times we don't want to ask those uncomfortable questions because we know the answers and we do not want to hear the answers. And we are assembled here to remind ourselves that the reason why we lament about Africa is that it appears that the systems of governance that we inherited and that we have been deploying for our benefit continue to put us at the foot of the ladder. We do not complain because there have been no changes and improvement in our circumstances. In certain cases there have been. But as Uganda's Yoweri Museveni says, and I agree with him, what is the point of fighting as to who is taller than the other when you are all dwarfs? This is the space in which Africa finds herself. So that the state of California in the United States of America has a GDP bigger than all the countries of Africa combined. This is undesirable. It is undesirable that a country which is great in prospect, for example, like Nigeria, with a population of 250 million, generates less power than Costa Rica, which has a population of 5 million and generates 3 times more power than Nigeria. It's undesirable. This is what we are talking about. We are talking about countries which have GDPs which ought not to be the GDPs that they have. And we are saying that this must be because of the systems of governance that we have. I heard His Royal Majesty so very keenly, and I agree with him. What must we do? What is the nexus between good governance and development? And what is development? I remember Julius Kambarage Nyerere saying in 1966 that when they come and tell us that development are roads and airports, we agree with them. But that is not the end of development. The beginning and the end of development is human resources, Mwalimu said. Mwalimu said, and I agree with him, You can build roads and destroy roads. You can build airports and rebuild airports. But when you build human beings intergenerationally, the airports that you destroy come out of their minds. So we must also redefine what development is. We have seen countries where edifices were christened to constitute development, and they were destroyed in the twinkling of an eye. But the human spirit is resilient and is constantly seeking liberation. The human spirit is constantly yearning for something to fulfill it. And that something is what sometimes we refer to as the social contract. That no man or no group of men who have arrogated to themselves the monopoly of knowledge and wisdom must never ever assume that they are God's gift to man, to govern and rule them as they will. That is the duty of men willingly to surrender their will to men that they may govern them. So the next thing that we must interrogate in Africa is who is a leader. Because we have too many individuals in Africa occupying offices who are not leaders, they are merely misleaders. And the time is now, therefore, to ask ourselves, and I can still remember your now immortal words, Honorable and Excellency President, in 2015, when you said so very ably that your ambition was not worth the blood of the people of Nigeria. When you spoke those words, I do not know what came to your mind, but you must have received a sudden enlightenment, because those words underlined the fact that men must know when to stop and the appropriate time you stopped. And Nigeria was the richer because you stopped. We live in a continent today where every election is a harbinger for chaos. But you said, let it go. We have a saying in Kiswahili, asiyetaka kushindwa si mshindani. He who does not want to be defeated is not a contestant. Today, when we talk about leadership, we are talking about people to recognize that it's not a cutthroat competition. Unfortunately, in Africa, leadership and the quest for it is a cutthroat competition where throats are actually cut. So we must also, in addition to define democracy and governance and leadership, ask ourselves, who is a leader? You know, many years ago as a young man, I watched a movie, which movie has stuck in my mind. It was in 1982. And I went to the theaters and I went with a notebook. And the movie was Gandhi by Sir Richard Attenborough. And at that time, Mahatma Gandhi, or Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, had been invited back from South Africa by one of the great Indian nationalists, Professor Gokhale. And when he was invited to speak, this is what he said: I have nothing to say, but today as I see you here, the people who are assembled here are businessmen and lawyers from Delhi. You are pretending to speak to India and for India. This is not India. India is out there in the villages, in the hamlets. This is not Nigeria. Nigeria is out there in the municipalities. This is not Africa. Africa is out there in Bangui, in Nouakchott, in Khartoum, where they are fighting. in Hirda. Africa is out there in Niamey. Africa is out there in Ouagadougou. Africa is out there in Bamako, in the slums of Bamako. When we speak here in English, do we reach them? When we speak in French, do we reach them? When we speak in Portuguese, do we reach them? What is the Yoruba word for democracy? What is the Ijo word for democracy? What is the Ibibio word for democracy? What is the Igbo word for democracy? Give me that word. When you give me that word, then we are beginning a conversation. Because that conversation is the conversation that is going to tell us how we have a symbiotic relationship between democracy and the thing that we call development. You know, this mother continent, this continent that remains in the stage in which it remains, is a continent that continues to suffer even because of external factors. But we have blamed the others for too long. We must begin to blame ourselves. Oh, we have blamed the British, and they deserve to be blamed. When we belong to the Commonwealth and we call our ambassadors high commissioners, we deserve to blame them, because our political true north appears to be the United Kingdom. That's where, when we have our presidents and they want to contest elections in Africa, they go to Chatham so that their masters can listen to them and say, it's okay.
Now, my people, welcome back from the video. If I'm to pick one particular point from what Plo Lumumba said in this video, the number one point I will pick from it is that who brought the constitution and whose interest was the constitution written? Is it in the interest of the citizens or in the interest of the colonial masters? Obviously, with everything that's been going on in Nigeria, you know that the constitution is not citizen friendly. The citizens of this country are not okay with the way our politicians are managing the constitution and the way they are doing it. It shows that obviously this constitution is favoring our colonial master. And to the end of the video, you will see that whenever they want to make a debate, whenever they want to make any sort of interview, they go to Chatham House. What are they going there to do? Exactly what Plo Lumumba already justified in the video. What are they going there to do? Why can't we do what they are doing over there? Why can't they do it in their country? A whole lot of issues are going on, and Nigerians keep on seeing this all the time. And I said this in one of the videos that I posted of recent. I said, if we really want Nigeria to work, it starts with the people in the country by themselves. During the election, the day we stop receiving bribes from these people, receiving cheap tips from them just because they want our votes, then the politicians will know that these people really want change. In a situation whereby they subject a whole lot of Nigerians to hunger, pains, suffering during the time or through the time of their tenure in power, and they want to run for the second time, they will come back, they will start giving you things again, start giving you half bag of rice. It's not even up to half bag of rice. Sometimes they will give you 2 cups of rice, they give you noodles, they give you spag, and you also will collect it 5,000 naira, and a lot of citizens will collect it and still vote for these same people. These people are already buying what they are supposed to enjoy for 4 years. They've already bought it and given it to you within that short period of time when you want to vote for them, and after voting, another premium shege starts again. This is what Nigerians have been facing since all this while, and this thing comes in circulation, and after this person come and go, another person will come again and do the same thing. That is the exact thing Nigerians have been facing since all this while. And you see, Plo Lumumba even said that we have politicians in Nigeria that are enemies from within, and you could actually see that a lot of Nigerians are seeing President Bola Ahmed TINUBU as enemies from within with his policy that he's working with. And if you should check my previous video where Kenneth Okonkwo was speaking, where he was addressing Seun Okinbaloye, he said something about this subsidy. He said the old candidates, yes, they said they were going to remove the subsidy, but the way with which each candidate wants to approach the removal of subsidy is quite different. And now the approach of President Bola Ahmed TINUBU to the removal of subsidy is actually actually affecting a whole lot of Nigerians. And Kenneth Okonkwo made a lot of justice, and he did a whole lot of justice to that in that video. And when you reason and when you see what he was saying, you will actually believe that with the way he actually explained it is very, very on point. But a whole lot of people will still come back and say that is easy said and done. As at the time President Bola Ahmed TINUBU was not the president of this nation, there are a whole lot of things, a whole lot of moves he made that Nigerians were like, oh yes, President Bola Ahmed TINUBU is on point then. But you can see now that he has become, now that he's now the president of Nigeria, so-called president of Nigeria, you can see a whole lot of shit, a whole lot of shenanigans, a whole lot of corruption that has engulfed his whole administration. My people, I want you to drop your opinion at the comment section. Let us know what you feel about this present situation of Nigeria. A whole lot of Nigerians are suffering. You could even see one of the trending videos of one woman that came out and was carrying pot there in Lagos, Ojota. A lot of people were talking about that video. Like, look at the pain in the eyes of that woman. Look at the pain. If you should check with that woman, if you are in the shoes of that woman, you would have known the pain that that woman is going through, for her to take an empty pot to a protest ground to show Nigerians, to show the world that this is what is going on in Nigeria. My people, share your opinion at the comment section and let us know what you feel about everything that you've watched in this video. And don't forget to share this video to every social media platform. Share it to every social media platform. A whole lot of Nigerians need to see it. And if you cannot share, make sure you like it, give it a thumbs up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. And if you are coming across this channel for the very first time, do it to click the registration button, and don't forget to click the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you anytime we drop another trendy video just like this one. See you in our next video. Bye for now.